What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a great Wednesday. I was going to do this video yesterday, but I had asked a question to David Schwartz on Twitter and didn't get an answer, so I decided just to go ahead and do the video today regardless. Today we're going to talk about Nacha, the ACH network in the United States a little bit. I'm going to run through some of this stuff. Maybe some of you may have seen this, some of you may have not. But then I wanted to get into some regulations news. And I just first and foremost wanted to mention, if you see scam ads on this video, please do not participate in that. And I also wanted to bring up, I am thinking about potentially reformatting some of my videos here and including, you know, maybe some speculation based on some trends that I'm trying to pinpoint for price increases in some of these digital assets. There seems to be a trend against Bitcoin and some of these ones that have went parabolic. And I am going to try to start digging in. I mean, there's like over 6,000 cryptos here, but I don't want to get into any that are on exchanges that are a little bit shady. I don't want to get into very many assets that don't have a lot of volume running through them, because what's the purpose of something going up in value if you can't get out of that value? Once it's reached critical mass, it's parabolic, and you know that the value is going to start going down. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to start potentially presenting on that. I will probably post things a little bit earlier on Patreon, and then maybe make some videos on some of the assets that I've found that potentially fit the mold for that trend that I'm trying to pinpoint. So, all right, with Nacha, I just wanted to provide a little bit of scope for you all, and then we'll get into why it's relevant. 2019 ACH network. ACH is debit cards. Anytime you pay for a utilities bill using your bank account, I mean, all that stuff flows through ACH. $24.7 billion in transactions in 2019, totaling 55.8 trillion. We can see the volume here. The total volume of 2019's ACH payments translates to approximately 75 payments per person in the United States on an annual basis. So we can see trillions of dollars obviously flowing through the ACH network on a yearly basis here. You know, as of 2019, almost $60 trillion. I have been following Nacha for a while now, probably for the past 2.5 years. Now, just yesterday, they announced Nacha announces first live transactions on the Phixius platform. Phixius is their blockchain platform. If you are not aware, Nacha announced that Phixius, a new platform that facilitates the trusted exchange of payment information, is live and has completed its first information exchange transactions between participants. The Nacha managing director is saying that they're excited that Phixius is now live. Working with early adopters during the development of the platform proved to be very beneficial. This is Phixius API standards, which is tied into ISO 20022, which may ring a bell because Ripple was obviously the first distributed ledger technology company to be a part of the ISO board, right? Very interesting. And there's many interesting things with Nacha. I tend to believe, speculative-wise, that Nacha's Phixius platform interoperates with Ripplenet somehow, whether it be interledger protocol or some other means. Obviously, we know ILP is through the W3C now, but maybe some sort of a, I don't want to say, for lack of a better term, bastardized version of Xcurrent. We know Xcurrent is all rolled into ODL now, but you know, if you look at some of the verbiage here, we can see Phixius APIs very much so tie into ISO 20022. Pat Thelen, and we'll get into that in a second here, was a member of the board of Nacha from like 2012 to 2016, then directly moved to Ripple, and kind of just going to present you with some of the dates here. So you can see here, I asked, you know, David Schwartz if Ripple was still a member of the Nacha Alliance. And if you look back in 2014, Ripple Labs joins the Nacha Payments Innovation Alliance. And you can see today, you can see Ripple, everything basically flowing through Ripple, right? Settlement infrastructure, message routing, which used to be through ACH, would now flow through Ripple, right? And that's what I'm concerned with, trying to tie this in with Nacha and this Phixius platform. This is a message routing service, pre-validation, but it's a blockchain platform. I'm curious. Nacha had said that they had built the platform, but we all know that these legacy institutions are not great as far as tech provisions are concerned within their own organization. So they I'm assuming they outsource some of the work. Maybe that assumption is wrong, but I'll move forward into this a little bit more here. We could see Nacha mentioning Ripple many times in their faster payments tracker. This is like their monthly little update that they send within the Nacha community. Ripple's mentioned multiple times in that. The Faster Payments Task Force includes Nacha individuals and Ryan Zagone from Ripple. I found this. This is a study from the Department of Michigan, or University of Michigan. This is an entire document from 2016. But what really interested me is just this one sentence here. Not saying that this is the case. It's just interesting. In fact, Ripple could be integrated with or modeled after a self-regulatory organization like Nacha. The Nacha rules would continue to define the financial institutions that use ACH and Ripple. In those cases, the existing legal rights and obligations set forth by the payment systems would not change. You can find this document if you want to. It's online, just like I found it. Nacha Payments 2017 was presented. This was 3 years after the Ripple became a member of the Nacha Alliance. Interestingly enough, you cannot find anything about Ripple being a member of the Nacha Alliance after Ripple initially posted it on Ripple's website. Nacha never even posted it on their website, I don't believe. There were other documents like that were on Nacha's website. I think BankXRP had some of them. And now they're all these error 404 bad gateway things that you get, of course, anytime you go to the website. But I found a little bit of a tie-in between IBM, Interledger, and Nacha, because this is how can IBM blockchain be different. Now, if you're not aware, Interledger is very much so tied in with Hyperledger, I believe, and that's through the JavaScript version of JavaScript version on the Hyperledger platform incorporates Interledger, right? So we can see IBM's blockchain. This is a Nacha presentation showing Interledger, and it's not just a random Interledger. It literally shows ILP. So I'm just trying to present all of this, and you know, it may be nothing, but you know, we can see here also. Where does it say it here? November 11th, 2015, which is, you know, about a year and a half after Ripple joined the Nacha Alliance. They're starting to use verbiage like ubiquitous same-day clearing and settlement for ACH payments, which they were not able to do in the past, obviously. Ubiquitous, we hear all the time from Ripple. International ACH transactions. So it's not just domestic payments that Nacha deals with. They do deal in international ACH transactions as well. Office of Foreign Assets Control is who Nacha had worked with in developing the new ACH format that includes information on all parties to the transactions. Interestingly enough, we can see right here that Xcurrent also facilitates and operates under, see if I can find it here, this OFAC, Office of Foreign Assets and Control. Sure, it's just a regulatory body, probably not a lot to see there. Ripple Solutions Guide, again mentioning OFAC. U.S. Faster Payments Council, we've got Nacha members on here, we've got Ripple members on here. Pat Thelen, 1-year term for a tech provider for the Faster Payments Council, but he's still on the website, so I'm assuming he is still on the Faster Payments Council. And Pat Thelen, like I said, from 2012 to 2019 was a part of Nacha. He was on their executive board, actually. And then just Nacha, if you do a quick search, I mean, there's tons of different things that you can tie in ACH with Ripplenet. Nacha has a bunch of stuff in their faster payments tracker as well. I did want to get into this regulation stuff, and I'm just kind of floating through all this. James Rule XRP, thank you, man. You sent this to me earlier. This is the Congress of the United States sending basically a tisk letter to Honorable Brian Brooks, who is the head of the OCC. The Congress is basically, you know, the House of Representatives is basically raising concerns about some of the initiatives that Brian Brooks has been making over the past few months, talking about banks being able to hold cryptocurrency as far as being custodians, talking about stable coins, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it's interesting because the United States is very, very far behind. I'm going to show you a document, a bunch of rapid-fire documents in here. You can see the UK right now. Chancellor sets out ambition for future of UK financial services. This was just 2 days ago, talking about, leading to the global conversation on new technologies like stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. U.S. Fed economists are exploring the intrinsic value drivers of central bank digital currencies. The United States is mostly just talking about it at this point. Now, there's a report that came out from the U.S. Fed, Central Bank Digital Currency, a literature review, which is a compilation of multiple initiatives in here. You can go through and look at this if you want to as well. But we have other nations that are very much so further ahead. This is Lebanon, planning central bank digital currency in 2021. We know the Bahamas rolled out the sand dollar. We know there's the e-krona going on right now. China is arguably further ahead than anybody because they're trialing right now. And the document that I have right here, I found two documents. Now you have to go and Google Translate these to actually be able to read them. But this is from the National Diet of Japan. And if you're not aware, the National Diet is Japan's bicameral legislator, so obviously the government. I translated this entire document here. If you go down to the bottom, there was one document and I couldn't find it because I had to switch laptops, but it talks about China's digital yuan being mass enabled before the Beijing Winter Olympics. I think that's in 2022. So we're going to see this stuff start coming, and it's amazing to me that the United States is so stingy on their stance with how the United States dollar needs to operate worldwide that they are going to completely lose the race of central bank digital currency, in my opinion, if they do not pick up the pace on a mass scale. And I don't know how they do that without potentially using something else that's already been developed. So it kind of makes you wonder. But this is the Bank of Japan. This is talking about the CBDC initiatives. And the future, in addition to the demonstration experiment, which will be in early 2021, so they're going to demonstrate the utility of a CBDC, the Bank of Japan will design the system. Central bank, and that matters. Central bank and private business coordination and division of roles, CBDC issuance, holding amount, restrictions, and interest. So the Bank of Japan is going to run the show, right? Now, if you're not aware, Bank of Japan and the Bank or European Central Bank have Project Stella, a joint research project of the European Central Bank and the Bank of Japan. This very much so ties in with central bank digital currencies, distributed ledger technology as well. And Project Stella, I hope I have the right one up here. Okay, Project Stella ran direct trials. I don't have the right one pulled up. With and without Interledger Protocol. We all know Interledger Protocol is value agnostic, but we also know who Interledger Protocol was invented by, right? And who it was gifted to. Invented by Ripple, obviously. Two members at Ripple in particular. Gifted to the W3C. Okay, so here it is. I apologize. I did have it up. This is on European Central Bank's website. So we can see synchronized cross-border payments. The direct trials ran... were experimented without Interledger Protocol and with Interledger Protocol. They ran cross-plat. I mean, it's a gigantic document. I can't go through 24 pages right now, but you can find, I believe that this latest one was phase 4 of Project Stella, balancing confidentiality and audibility in a distributed ledger environment. And I think the cross-border one, if I'm not mistaken, was phase 2, I want to say. So moving on. This was interesting to me today. Ethereum service providers scrambled to update software after unannounced hard fork. You want to read more about that? I actually do hold some Ethereum. I've seen Ethereum so many places during research that it just made sense for me to hold it. They're tied into the system very much so. We know that they've had issues with updating to Ethereum 2.0, moving to proof of stake. But apparently the Ethereum blockchain network suffered issues Wednesday morning with knock-on effects at related service providers. You can read more into this unintended hard fork if you feel like it. Okay, this may be interesting to you guys, okay? I was doing a little bit of digging today. It looks like there is an open to the public Zoom link for the Ripple hearing that is going to be tomorrow. Okay, this is at 2 o'clock p.m. I think this is California time. So if you're Eastern, it would be 5 o'clock p.m. I may be wrong on that. But yeah, check it out. Even if the webinar access right here, and you go to Phyllis J. Hamilton's website right here, I believe you just click on this and it takes you right to Zoom. And if you feel like watching the court hearing, even though it's going to be insanely boring, you can definitely do that. I will post this link down in the about section of this video, just so that everybody can watch it if they're interested. Okay. All right. Now, all right. There was an 11th survey on correspondent banking for the euro. Interesting chart that we have here. This was just a few days ago as well. Overview of, this is European Central Bank, focus area and building blocks. And they're talking about fostering the soundness of a global stablecoin arrangement for cross-border payments. Very interesting, because we know that there's really not a global stablecoin right now, right? We know that all these central banks do not have something that's actually in production right now, besides, the Bahamas. Factoring an international dimension into central bank digital currency design, so that's going to happen as well. There's multiple initiatives here. Aligning regulatory, supervisory, and oversight frameworks for cross-border payments, AML, CFT. You get it, right? But they're obviously working on central bank digital currencies across the board here. It's happening. The United States, in my opinion, is behind. If you want to check out the Zoom meeting for the Ripple hearing tomorrow, which is probably going to be insanely boring and you won't hear anything, feel free. I'll present the link down in the comments of this. And if you guys want me to, because I have more so been literally looking through, I'm through the first 500 or 600 cryptos and kind of seeing a little bit of a trend here with what's going on as far as some of these. A lot of them I'm not even invested in. As far as price increases and evaluations, none of it will be financial advice. If I do present it, you guys can all make your own decisions. But if you want me to present the trends that I think that I've found, I can definitely start to do that. It takes time to go through all of those, obviously. Nothing's for certain, because the trends very much so depend upon Bitcoin's price at this point in time. I believe very much so that the majority of these valuations that we're seeing whenever we see coins go parabolic has nothing to do with utility whatsoever. Some of the low caps are very much so affected by news, but many of them are just following the same pattern, if that makes any sense. I believe when utility takes over, I very much so plan to hold my long-term bags. But I know Kevin Cage has stated, something similar as far as these patterns are concerned. And I'm starting to look into this as well, because quite frankly, I'm sick of utility not doing it. I can hold my long-term bags, but if there's some sort of pattern that I can potentially identify, as crazy as that sounds, I'm going to try to maximize as much as I possibly can off of that. I'm not saying I'm going to be a trader per se, but you're definitely not a day trader. But if I can identify something that operates on a multi-week basis, I have no problem doing that, as long as the rewards outweigh the risks, in my opinion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Nacha too. Do you think Nacha is tied in with basically like an ODL version of X-Current? It could potentially 100% not be, but it's interesting to me that we don't get answers from Ripple when we're asking these certain things, even though Ripple themselves announced that they were part of the Nacha Alliance. All I asked for was for confirmation that they still were. So a lot of that big time type news dies off after 2014 through 2016, and stuff just goes dark, which is just weird to me. All right, I hope you guys have a good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. And if there is news tomorrow, I will present it later.